As I continue on with this history of the lost cause, I want to talk about the original Ku Klux Klan, the KKK of Reconstruction. Hi, my name is Karen Cox, and I'm a historian of the American South and an expert on Confederate memory and the lost cause, which this series is about. Now, the Ku Klux Klan was founded in December of 1865. And essentially, this was a vigilante group. They were violent, and they sought to intimidate freedmen from basically anything they did in daily life. They wanted to scare them back into submission. And over the next few years, they also tried to intimidate black voters from voting in black representatives for their state. They were extremely violent, and they actually lynched people. But the ways in which the white South remembers the Klan, and this is part of the lost cause, is to sanitize all of that and then suggest that the Klan was essentially a heroic organization that saved the white South from a brutal Negro regime. A member of the United Daughters of the Confederacy named Laura Martin Rose actually wrote a primer for public school students to read about the history of the Ku Klux Klan. And she refers to them as the sturdy white men of the South, and she hoped that her little booklet would inspire young white Southerners to respect Confederate soldiers, who, she also added, were the real Ku Klux. And that's true. The original members of the Ku Klux Klan were Confederate soldiers. But here's what she also said, and I'm going to read from my book where I've quoted her. "These sturdy white men of the South," she declared, "maintained white supremacy and secured Caucasian civilization," later adding that during Reconstruction, their efforts helped to, quote, "maintain the supremacy of the white race." This is what it's about, you all. The Lost Cause is full of these kinds of myths and stories, but the real truth of the matter is that they didn't, they said the quiet part out loud. They were there to preserve white supremacy. So this is another part of the Lost Cause, in that this narrative is represented to young children decades after the Civil War in the South, in hopes that they will revere these men, not only because they were Confederate soldiers, but because they defended the white race.